Hey, how's it going, everybody? Coach Kyle here, and I'm running the Brookings Marathon this spring, and I wanted to do a quick rundown of how to run the event. And the Brookings Marathon is early May, so it's a spring marathon. Typically, the weather is pretty good. Temps, the lows are in the 40s for the morning, the highs 60s, maybe 70s, maybe. Um, so it's a pretty safe event weather-wise. This is a Strava activity overview of somebody that ran it in 2018. It is a Boston qualifier, and it's in eastern South Dakota, right by South Dakota State University. It goes through the campus. And as you can see here, it's slightly rolling, but overall pretty flat. Like it looks like there's hills, but this is at 1620 feet and the top is at 1660. So it's pretty flat. Now it's nice that it's not all downhill or all uphill. There's no long declines or long inclines. It's rolling. So that means it kind of changes your muscle activation, your form a little bit throughout the run. It's not the same flat or downhill running form for the entire 26 miles. If you look up here, one thing you will really notice is how curvy it is. There are tons of turns in this race. That is good and bad. It's kind of bad because you're often, depending on where you're at, you might think you're lost. This was my first marathon that I've ever done, and now I'm returning like I don't know, almost 10 years later, and um, I remember that there's a lot of curves, so take the tangents with this one. You didn't sign up for 26.5 miles. You signed up for 26.2. The This guy, the Lamar Howard, he missed his BQ by it looks like 1 second. That's taking a turn wider than he should have. So um, it is what it is. And race execution is part of Boston qualifying, and part of that is taking the tangents. So another good thing about all the turns is that if it's a windy day or whatnot, you're not going to be running into a headwind. Like there are some marathons on the western side of the state where almost all or half of the run, at least a good chunk of it, all at once is the same direction. So if you're running north and there's a wind out of the north, if it's strong enough, it's going to slow you down. But with this type of course, being so curvy, you're not going to have a headwind for miles upon miles. So that's a benefit of the turns. So there's good and there's bad parts about this course. Um, One nice thing is if you have a spectator, if you have family around, they can see you a lot. Like look right here, you come back, and here you loop around. They walk like 2 blocks and they'll see you again in a minute. So there's a lot of chances for spectators to see you during the course. Now, this gentleman's race recap said there was 125 marathoners. There's a lot of relay, and there's like two, three, maybe four times that many half marathoners. So again, you got a lot of relay people. So the early sections are pretty are there's a lot of people around for the early sections, but after the half breaks off, and I don't recall when that is, um, it can get kind of lonely out there. So they have pacers starting at I think 325, um, but depending on, I mean, if you're a sub 330 marathoner, you're gonna chances are you might run a lot of this event solo or with like one or two other people. If you're a average runner, 430, you're gonna have some company. So take that in mind when considering this event for a Boston qualification. If you want a small event, it's not where you're going to run the entire thing by yourself, but the crowd support is going to be throughout the race. It's not like you're out in the middle of nowhere for the entire race either. So again, there's positives and negatives. It's not like a large event where there's going to be tons of people all the time running and spectating, but it's not like you're in the middle of Nebraska where you're going to be there's somebody half mile up, half mile back, and that's it. So there's just other than the antelope. So it's kind of an in-between race as far as the amount of people on the course, runners and spectators go. As for nutrition, I believe the race website says there's only gels at mile 17, and that's a little troublesome for me because I'm not looking forward to starting the race with 6 or 8 gels in my pocket, but it is what it is. I would prefer to start with maybe a quarter, or not, sorry, I would start with maybe like half or 3/4 of that and then use them and then grab them on the course. But if there's only one place to grab gels, I don't want to rely on that. Toilets and first aid are available at every other aid station starting at mile 7. Toilets are available before mile 1 and after mile 2. Goo is offered at mile 17. Aid stations offering water, so they do have Powerade at every mile and every mile and a half, beginning after mile 2. So the water and the sports hydration is plentiful. That's fine. As for actual gels, it's pretty sparse. So if you don't want to rely on the actual course nutrition, don't worry about it. I'm not sure what I will do. I have about 3 weeks to decide. This was a last minute sign up for me, but I think I'm going to start with a bottle, like a free one I got at some race. I'll drink that during the first hour. Maybe I'll fill it up. Maybe I'll ditch it. I'm not sure yet. I'll probably pack all the gels I'll need for the run and not have to rely on the course for calories, but I'll have to rely on the course for hydration, whether that means stopping 3 times and refilling my bottle if I keep it, or ditching the bottle after an hour and just taking from the aid stations every mile and a half. So it's a pretty straightforward course. There's 300 volunteers at this event. They do a great job. Matt Bean does a great job as the RD. So if you have any questions or comments about this particular event, let me know. But and check out kylekranz.com/racing-fuel for carb loading information. It lays it all out for you, exactly what and how much you need to be eating for carb loading, and then talks about basically what I'll exactly do for day before, pre-race, post-race nutrition, recovery, etc. So check that out. I'll link that below as well. And I always offer a small discount for coaching towards local events, basically South Dakota races. So if you want to sign up 3+ months out for this race or any other South Dakota race, let me know. kylekranz.com, reply back here, DM me, and we can chat about working together towards these events. Chances are possible that I'll be at the event with you. So that's all I got. Questions, comments, drop them below. And as always, you keep running, I'll keep coaching.